This is our adventure in April 2024 when we venture into the deep wilderness of Nova Scotia to explore and relax in all the best nature has for mankind to enjoy. Arron and I team up for a journey into the Tobeatic Wilderness area to enjoy sporting in Oakland Lake for an 8-day canoe trip, basking in the rugged beauty that we know and love as the Tobeatic. I was excited to get ready for my spring Tobeatic canoe trip. I got my old 2003 F-150 all washed up and the canoe loaded, ready for the 5.5-hour, 550-kilometer trip from my home in PEI to pick up Arron in the Annapolis Valley, Nova Scotia. It always seems important to me to have the truck just shining so that it can get dirty in about 5 seconds into the trip. On an early Saturday morning in late April, Arron and I headed back on the old unmaintained roads to the Sporting Lake Put-In, or as educated people call it, access point. The road was very rough and tight the last few kilometers. My truck got scratched up pretty well, and of course, it got dirty. Let the complaining begin. As Arron was preparing in the valley for our trip, and me on PEI, we became very excited for our annual spring Tobeatic canoe trip. I decided this trip, after 20 years of traveling in the Tobeatic Wilderness area, that I would try my hand at sharing my experience and my experiences with the world, or at least the tiny portion of the world that might be interested in what a deranged middle-aged man might do in the woods for a week. First off, I do want to apologize for the video quality. As I was just feeling out this process, I bought an inexpensive action camera to do some filming, which will be abundantly apparent as you continue to watch this video. I made some errors as well while filming, like on the first day in particular. I thought that I had the anti-shake setting on the camera on this first day, but as you can see, we have ample video evidence that that wasn't the case. After day one, filming gets better, but you'll have to stick around to see the results. We decided on our last spring trip to Irving Lake that this year we would go to Oakland Lake to relax and explore, and that's exactly what we did. As you can see, two excited fellas hit the water in full steam, and before you know it, we were at the first official carry.
No, it's pretty good. It's on now. Ouch. Taking that one too? You gonna take a paddle? Or both paddles? Come back with it. Ready? Nobody's coming behind us.
Once we got the first carry behind us, 3 times, we headed back onto Sporting Lake Stream up to Nick's Landing, where there's an unmarked carry around shallow rapids and multiple deadfalls, Rush Lake, and then the Sporting Lake carry. The day was cool and a bit breezy. Rain was in the forecast, although the long-range weather for the week looked pretty decent overall. It was supposed to be cool without very much rain. While we paddled this stretch of the stream, the forecasted rain began to fall in inconsistent and sporadic showers. This was our first day of an 8-day adventure, but our Saturday in was very focused. Heavy rain was forecasted beginning in the afternoon and through the night, and we had a late start on the water as the road was so rough. We were aiming for a 9 a.m. start, but it was actually 10:30 before we hit the water. Usually it takes us about 4 to 5 hours to get to Sporting from the put-in, so that meant we were likely going to get pretty wet from the forecasted rain. We spent the morning chatting and laughing as we paddled up the breathtaking and beautiful Sporting Lake Stream, marveling at the high water and the ease in which we passed over the restrictions that we were used to in lower water conditions. When we arrived at Nick's Landing, the rain had begun in earnest. I donned my raincoat and Arron and I discussed making camp at the cool little stream-side campsite at Nick's Landing. It's a newer Tobeatic site created a few years ago, but it's a very nice setting. You can hear the stream flowing all night long over the shallow run, and the campsite borders on a thick barren area that has a view of the next section of Sporting Lake Stream. Rush Lake is just up the stream a little bit further. Once you hit Rush Lake, you're getting very close to Sporting Lake. Only the 1 kilometer carry remains to the lakeshore. My footage from Rush Lake was so shaky that it was unusable, so you'll just have to use your imagination, at least for now. We made the 1,000-meter Sporting Lake carry 3 times and arrived at Sporting Lake to find a brand new campsite right at the put-in. The new site was awesome and we decided to camp right there. The rain had stopped again, so we rushed getting camp set up at our home for the night. Soon after finishing, the heavy rain that was forecasted set in. Tonight was the night for my simple one-pot chili, which is easy to make when it's raining. It was a huge pot and delicious, probably the best this meal has ever turned out for me. We woke rested Sunday morning to a glorious sunrise. I finally realized to my horror that I accidentally did not turn on the anti-shake on the camera and somehow had also managed to turn off the mic as well. While considering my poor life choices, I decided to look around at the inexplicable beauty of Sporting Lake. Now that it wasn't raining, I took some time to fiddle around with my camera, play with my selfie stick, and to take some pictures with my Nikon point-and-shoot camera as well. Arron and I decided to do a layover day at our newly discovered Sporting Lake campsite. Layover days are the best in the woods. Surrounded by the sounds and smells of nature, you relax, recuperate, and enjoy just being. It is truly in these moments that you fully begin to appreciate the beauty of creation around us. Once we had some breakfast and did some camp chores, we set into a busy day of doing very, very little. Simply enjoying the beautiful surroundings, enjoying each other's company, and disconnecting fully from the real world, which starts to seem far, far away when you immerse yourself in the call of the Tobeatic Wilderness. Arron and I decided that we would go play around the old logging bridge remains at the mouth of Sporting Lake Stream, which was a short bushwhack from our campsite.
She pretty. Up in the sky. See that big swampy landing in there? Neat.
As our second day came to a close, I reflected on how fortunate I am to be able to continue to enjoy doing something that I love so much in a place that I love so much. Sloppy Joes were on the menu for supper. This was the first time I tried this recipe on the trail, and it turned out pretty decent. Again, it was another huge meal. We enjoyed a campfire for the first time of the trip, and we went to bed early. Feeling rested up, disconnected, and refreshed, Monday was the day that we were going to venture over to Oakland Lake.